Yo, it's John Master Lee.
And Lulu.
All right. I love what Oliver Anthony's already doing here. You know, with his YouTube channel, since he blew up a couple weeks ago, he's been much more prolific.
Making content.
Making content, making music more specifically. I got a new song here, 90 Some Chevy. Now, I love this, right? Because what he's doing here is really smart because it allows him to continue to build a fan base with new music. I got to lay it out on a lot of the critics who thought that he was El Loco for turning down $8 million some dollars for a record contract, try to go independent. And I went into some detail, some of that thinking in another video. But what I want to do in this one is kind of give you a sense of like how much money he can make and the strategy he can use to remain independent. Because there is a certain strategy here that is, I'm going to call it like an influencer strategy, but it is one where you really need to be attuned to like how people are digesting music today and your content. Now, I give him kudos for now being prolific because he admitted that, you know, one of the issues he was dealing with was that he felt that his time was passing him by and that his chance of eventually making music was going to pass him by as well. And he was just drinking and smoking, wasting life away. And it got harder and harder to muster up that courage, if you will, to be creative, put your music out there. It seems like he's over that, which is great. Now you got to turn that up. Continue to create from within, right? And treat the internet almost like a live stage.
Yeah, just like your audience,
exactly, right? So that's going to be a mix of stuff from like live performances where you can interact with your fans, original music that you like, maybe even stuff that you're just strumming and kind of like freestyling to kind of figure out your next tunes. The idea is fill up your channel with a mix of things so people can get to know you creatively and as a person. That is going to be real key. And from that, you're going to be able to take a lot of that content and break it up into a lot of pieces that you can then post on Instagram and TikTok. Like, there's so many platforms, right? And the whole point of all of that isn't to become popular on YouTube or these other platforms because the revenue you're going to earn there is relatively incremental. Like, say, for instance, right? I see his YouTube channel right now. He's got about like 33 million views. That's good money if he's monetizing. He's probably making about $50,000 to $100,000 from just that so far, right? And he's going to continue to build on that. Actually, that's really damn good money when I think about it. But the whole idea is that you're going to make more money from your catalog of music. So for instance, right, when he was charting on iTunes with Richmond, he said that he was making like $40,000 just like that, right? So the idea there is that you got to create content as a marketing effort, get people to buy your music. It's a really important strategy here, and that's why I love giving this advice. I actually work in the space, and over the years I work with a number of different music artists and record labels to help them figure out how to crack the internet. And whenever artists use this strategy, it's a game changer. It exponentially increases their fan base and how much money they make. From that, he could easily make 6-digit figures every single year ongoing. That's why he doesn't need $8 million because, you know, living where he is in Virginia, a 6-digit figure salary, he's set.
That's a lot.
Absolutely set. Yeah. I'll leave it at that. There's a lot more advice I can give him. And if he happens to be watching our reactions, which I hope he does because that's actually a pretty big piece of the equation too, which is to support the reactors out there to help spread your word.
That's part of your marketing.
Yeah,
right?
It's a modifier. Think of it as your marketing channel, help spread your word to new audiences that normally wouldn't discover you. All right, let's check this out. By the way, if you want to hear some wicked, wild stories, you got to check out my channel.
And if you want some hotness, check out my fantasy show. Ooh, I love that music video.
Beautiful shots.
That old darling of mine is like a 90-some Chevy. She rides just right when you turn her on. The only thing sounds better than that old 350 is when she's running up to kiss me. When I get home, it's been a hard day. I'll tell you, darling, it's been a long week. Might have to load up the dogs, go and listen to the frogs croaking down in the creek. We can take her nice and slow, a case of beer and a Zemco. Let the sun sink good and low. There ain't no telling where we'll go in the back of that 90-some Chevy. In the back of that 90-some Chevy. She's hotter than hell, I'm higher than gas. She's sweeter than honey, I'm poor white trash. She ain't had a check that I couldn't cash. I guess that she's my Carter, that I'm her cash. And I've been sitting around
Love that line.
drinking on it. I guess I'm gonna have to get me a ring and get it on it. 'Cause that old darling of mine is like a 90-some Chevy. She rides just right when you turn her on. The only thing sounds better than that old 350 is when she's running up to kiss me when I get home. It's been a hard day, I tell you, darling, it's been a long week. Might have to load up the dogs, go and listen to the frogs croaking down in the creek. We can take her nice and slow, a case of beer and a 7 cold. Let the sun sink good and low. There ain't no telling where we'll go in the back of that 90-some Chevy. In the back of that 90-some Chevy. That old darling of mine's like a 90-some Chevy. She rides just right when you turn her on.
Yeah. Beautifully produced video, actually. He's getting it. I feel like he's getting some good advice from people around him. And he's working with people, too, to help him make his music and videos and his production better. And I'm not expecting, like, super fancy stuff, but these little touches in this video make you feel like you're really there with them. Like, you can hear, like, the woods around him. You know what I'm saying?
Waterfall.
The waterfall, all that kind of stuff, which means that he's got a specific kind of microphone that's more, could pick up the ambiance. Video is great, shot really well with nice little bokeh effect with the blurry background and then the foreground.
Right.
And someone's holding the camera, so there's someone there. Like, he had thought through the shots with the B-roll and all that kind of stuff. Now, for someone who just wants to create music, I get it. Like, that can sometimes feel like a lot. And a lot of music artists we talk to, like, man, I don't got time for that. I just want to create. I get it. You don't have to do that. Like, work with friends who do that for you, sharing the upside and the revenue. And the general idea is that these kind of things where people are really good at, let them discover you, want them to work with you. Because just from this one shot, I was just thinking, man, what we have here, in essence, is a lifestyle video. It's not a music video. It's about his life and his story, which means that he can produce all sorts of additional stuff like the behind the scenes, right? The production of it, or he can even sit down with afterwards and talk about, here's my 97 Chevy, here's a full tour of the insides.
Right.
Like, that's, I think, why we love his music. It's not just his voice is amazing, his music hits. It's that we connect with
his
him.
story.
Yeah.
I think that's what really people love him as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
One song like this, which is just about his car, you learn something about him.
love
You appreciate
story.
about how, you don't need the latest fancy doodads and gadgets and things like AC.
Another great song
Beautiful
from Oliver.
song.